This is Lee Ridley. I was lucky enough to achieve 2 promotions with Scunthorpe United, but nothing compares to the joy I experience when listening to the Iron Hour podcast. Just a heads up, this podcast contains strong language, the good stuff. If this isn't for you, turn off now. For the rest of you, now fucking enjoy the podcast.
Right, Iron fans, welcome to another edition of the Iron Hour podcast. A special edition, we hope, an exclusive. We've had a man on the inside today in Max Bell. We'll get through to that as soon as we can. I'm joined by my usual panel. I've got Gareth Holden, aka Iron Army, Marco, and of course Max Bell, our roving reporter today. I think what we'll do, guys, is go straight into it. We have to address the elephant in the room. A massive court case today, a massive day, in fact, for Scunthorpe United. I think some fans, possibly naively, I don't know, but some fans were fearing the worst, thinking it could have all ended today. Straight over to you, Max. Let's get straight into it. What happened today?
So I don't blame Iron fans for thinking it could have ended, to be honest. The rumour mill on Twitter, it'll always be Twitter to me, went into overdrive. But basically, for anybody who hasn't seen, the Scunthorpe United hearing was at Leeds Combined Court today, which was the first stage of the attempt by Coulson Property and Investments, which is the company owned by Peter Swan, to try and basically kick Scunthorpe United Football Club out of Glanford Park. Those efforts are so far unsuccessful. The big headline is that there will be theoretically a 3-day trial for at some point between January the 2nd and March the 29th, 2024. There was lots of legal stuff to unpack in the hearing. Took about an hour and 45 minutes, a bit of which was sort of Scunthorpe's legal team apologising for the fact that their defence was submitted a little bit late. There was clearly delays around that, but I think it was a positive result. I know we'll come to it shortly. Obviously, the club have put a club statement up from David Hilton, which puts his side of the story over. But all things told, I think it was a good result for the club. We've got to a stage now whereby they've set a number of targets, around disclosure of documents, pre-trial checklists, lots of sort of relatively boring legal stuff. But the fears that we were going to kick out today, it turns out were unfounded. Both Coulson's lawyers and also the judge, who was actually present, said that couldn't have happened regardless. Yeah. So I think that was a moment where the couple of Iron fans in the room just sort of went, oh. Because I think that is the main feeling right now, is probably relief.
Yeah.
It's definitely bought us a few months. It's also, I think, probably directly and indirectly, the result is going to have to push Peter Swan to the table.
Yeah.
The judge went with Scunthorpe's lawyers' suggestions, despite the objections of Swan's lawyers, and slotted time in the timetable for what's known as alternative dispute resolution.
Okay, so what does this mean, Max?
Well, that's a fancy way of saying mediation,
yeah.
Basically.
So basically, get back to the table and see if there's a deal to be done.
Absolutely, and in life there's always deals to be done. It takes two to tango, it takes two to compromise, but I think that's a big theme of what David Hilton and the club have been saying so far, is that there are no winners to this, except the lawyers and their legal fees. They're the true winners of something like this.
Just on that topic of the lawyers, this 3-week delay in submitting the evidence, what was the reason for that?
So, not really sure. They didn't really go into the details of that. It was more the technicalities of the implications of that.
I thought it was to do with changing legal team.
So they did change legal team, but that came after the deadline for the submission of the defence anyway. I think the most important thing now is that they seem to have quite a good defence ready to go.
Yeah.
There was a number of points in which they set out, well, this argument is going to have implications, this is going to take us a while. If you've got a trial that's going to take 2.5-3 days, there's lots of meaty stuff in there. Yeah. My own account, but also the podcast account, we sort of tried to summarise it a little bit on Twitter. I think probably the main legal sticking point right now is when David Hilton took over the club in January, bought the club for £1 and then was going to try and purchase the ground and the land, and to allow that signed a lease agreement with Peter Swan to own the land until, I believe it was the May the 24th.
28th, I think it was.
I think it could be the 28th, yeah. It's the end of May. The fee for that was reported to be around £20,000 a month.
With a completion fee of 1.5 million, right?
Pass. That wasn't mentioned in that wasn't mentioned in the court. Excuse me. Sorry. But obviously, then, for whatever reason, and I'm sure this will all come out in the washing if it does eventually go to trial, that purchase has not been completed.
Yeah.
So you're then in this situation of, oh, okay, what happens now? But in that period, from January to May, David Hilton, who was the lease of Glanford Park from Coultilk was to Hilton personally.
Yeah.
He's done what's known as subleased it to the company, which is Scunthorpe United Football Club Limited. So, like, if you own your house, you've got a mortgage on it, you rent your spare room to your lodger. Or if you move abroad to work for a couple of years, you might sub-rent your house while you're away. Sort of that sort of arrangement. But that lease was for, I believe, 2 years. Expecting that the sale would be completed. That hasn't happened, so now there's going to be a legal argument as to whether or not that sublease, if you like, is valid.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the famous 7 pence a week
and I
has
think
been coming from.
We just want to clear this up because a lot of the reporting, and I think it's been inaccurate. So, what emerged on Twitter earlier was that the club were in fact paying Peter Swan 7 pence a month, 7 pence a week, whatever it was. Leasing fee, hiring fee, rent, whatever it is. But just clear that one up, Max. Who is receiving this 7 pence?
David Hilton. It's not going to Peter Swan.
Yeah.
The 7 pence a week, sort of penny a day, is coming from the sublease, not the lease. And look, don't get me wrong, I like the idea as much as anybody else of us getting 365 1p coins in a wheelbarrow, driving it down the Nottinghamshire and going, morning! Sadly, that's not what's happening. It's a token.
It's a minimal fee.
Yeah, absolutely. In a way that you might buy a car that's basically scrapped for £1 because there has to be some sort of exchange going on there.
Yeah.
So whether or not that sublease is valid is going to be a big legal argument. But that's quite complicated.
Do you think that's the crux of the whole legal point? Then do you think it comes down to whether this sublease is a legal sublease?
I think it's a big point. I don't think it's the only point. I think there's probably going to be issues about the sale contract in terms of what it was that
which makes sense.
Mr. Swan and Mr. Hilton actually signed back in January.
Because this is Scunthorpe's defence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that these legal requirements promised by Swan haven't been. I'm just saying this is
absolutely
what Scunthorpe's defence is. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this would be surveying checks, the registering of this unregistered land.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. And I think, there'd been some speculation, some of that unhelpful, which had been stating or assuming or guessing that actually Scunthorpe didn't have a leg to stand on. And no matter what happens now, Swan and Coultilk may still succeed if it goes to trial at a later date, but there is clearly a legal defence there. Yeah. And even the lawyers in the room representing both parties and the judge were going, look, we're going to have to argue this at this point. It's going to take us 2 days, 2.5 days, 3 days with reading. These are not illegal points in which there's not been too much case or expertise around. So it's going to take time. It's going to take time.
And who was there from both sides? Presumably legal teams, but who was there specifically, Swan or Hilton?
Yep. So no presence from Mr. Swan or
Peter Swan, but just his legal team.
Just his legal team. I don't think that probably surprised anybody.
Yeah.
I know there was talk about whether or not there would be Scunthorpe fans there, so I don't think anyone was shocked. And I would stress as well, there was no legal requirements for either party or claimant to actually go.
Just need legal representation.
Just
it's a civil matter.
Absolutely, just the two sort of people from from his legal team. Then David Hilton turned up.
Was there?
Yeah, which I think actually sort of pleasantly surprised probably myself and others as well. Again, because there would have been no legal requirement for him to go because it's a civil matter, but you know it's clearly important, and I think it sends a good message that you know he's there, he's listening to all the arguments, he's making sure that you know they're putting a good defence forward. That he was, you know, I know he had a chat with the BBC reporter afterwards as well. So plus his legal team, there was three people from the media, report from the BBC, Matt Slater from the Athletic, who's done lots of really good reporting on clubs in crisis, if you like, particularly Southend.
Yeah.
I know we'll come to Southend later.
Will we?
Ruin your medicine.
And also another member of the media team I didn't quite catch, and then myself and one other sort of Scunthorpe fan and shareholder there. They'd moved it into a slightly bigger room than where it was initially scheduled to be, just so they could make sure that they could fit the press and public in there.
Did you get a chance to speak to Hilton afterwards, or did you see his body language? What was you picking up?
Had a brief chat afterwards with him. Hadn't met him before. I think his body language was okay, but you know nobody's running around and taking their top off or doing a Jack Evans. You know, it's a core to everybody's body language is pretty serious. But I would say his pretty brief chat with me reflected what he then put up on the club website, which was that it was a positive outcome. But there are no winners from this. We want to be able to say actually the trial's not necessary. We've come to a deal with Mr. Swan. This has all been completed. That'd save time, effort, money, legal fees, stress. So I know, obviously we look back at his ownership of the club. Swan's record on compromise and mediation isn't great. But there's a first time for everything, Peter, so fingers crossed.
And before I come to Gareth, before I come to you and Marco for your opinion, what we'll do now is we'll just go through the statement made by David Hilton on the official Scunthorpe United website, just to give him, basically, this is his platform really, isn't it, to say his piece. So the statement reads, an update from owner David Hilton. As many of you are aware, Scunthorpe United were in court today facing the very real prospect of being evicted from Glanford Park. We achieved a positive outcome today. While the immediate prospect of eviction has been halted, there were no winners or losers. The club remains in the ground until next year, when a 3-day hearing will be listed. We will use the time to continue negotiations and hopefully achieve a settlement that works for all parties. Legal action has never been our preferred option, and we hope this can be resolved without further hearings. The club would like to thank Tahina Akhtar of Wildcat Law and Richard Chapman KC for their hard work and for their representing of the club at the hearing. Now, before I come to... Sorry, Matt, go on.
No, I was just going to add, there's a couple of bits in there that I forgot to mention. So, for anybody who doesn't know, KC means King's Counsel. It's basically one of the most senior types of barristers that you can be. So the representation that Hilton had shows that the club are taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
We've since had a statement, I believe, from Simon Elliott saying that Hilton's paying the legal fees personally. They're not coming out of the club's fund, and I've got every confidence that those legal bills will not be cheap. And I think as well in terms of the trial date, it's worth emphasising. So we've currently got a 3-week window. If everything runs smoothly, the trial could theoretically be scheduled for any 3-day slot between January the 2nd and March the 29th. But that's if everything runs smoothly. If there's negotiations, if it runs smoothly, if the barristers go on strike again, there's lots of different things that could slow it down.
Push this back.
Yeah, even further. And I would say, let's say hypothetically there is a 3-day trial window in at that point, let's say it's March. If they found against either party, I would right now probably expect a very swift appeal. So, I'm not expecting this to be unless a deal or a compromise is struck. I'm not expecting this to be finished until the end of this season. That could change, but based on what we've learned today, I'd be surprised if we're not in Glanford Park until the end of this season.
Yeah. Just opening this up a little bit further, Gareth, I think for me, the take-home point from this statement was this quote: "We will use the time to continue negotiations and hopefully achieve a settlement that works for all parties."
Yeah.
Now that hints at there might be a chance here to come back to the table and do a deal with Swan.
Yeah, well, it's going to be cheaper, isn't it, in the long run?
Yeah.
And the legal fees, you know. But yeah, no, I think it's get around the table, thrash out a deal, and yeah, why not? You know, it's good that we're not going to be traipsing after Gainsborough Trinity,
Yeah.
as that was the place everyone was talking about to play games. But yeah, I think we'll be, like Max said, I think we'll be there for the rest of the season, till the end of the season.
What would your preference be then, as you know, one of the forefront Iron fans? What would your preference be? Would it be to remain at Glanford Park for another few years? Would you just want to do that's kind of like the next 2 years and get this new stadium built? What would your view be?
I think just stay down at Glanford Park, personally, for me. It's a bit closer to home.
That's not a good enough reason.
Gareth likes the motorway.
I just think if we're down at Glanford Park, everyone's familiar with it.
Yeah.
Are we going to get a ground built in 2 years? You know, that's a big ask as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just I think, you know, rather than be a nomad going here, there and everywhere, just stay down at Glanford Park.
So I think, Marco, you're quite for a new ground, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I know at the start of Swan's tenure, he mentioned it a lot actually, saying like we only sort of make money once every 2 weeks with a home game. So I think a new ground with obviously training pitches, it obviously can be hired out through the week, better bars, better facilities to bring money in, that would be beneficial. But that's in an ideal world.
Yeah.
Realistically, there's nothing wrong with Glanford Park. If we could get that deal done and stay there, I do think that'd be better overall until we start generating more money. But yeah, the whole thing today, like you said, it's a positive because that's going on in the background now, but we've got
a level of security.
Yeah, but because that's clouding over the work that Jimmy and is doing on the pitch, which has been fantastic, touch wood, so far. And I think that needs to be the main concentration. So although like this is brilliant today, it's fantastic news, but I just think we need to get behind the lads.
Absolutely. I think just kind of just coming back to what you were saying about almost secondary incomes, you know, I think that's been one of the main lines of rhetoric from the Hilton era. It's about how we can increase revenue. How do we get this secondary spend?
Yeah, because we went to Wilkeston.
This is what I was going to say.
And we thought this is fantastic. If we could get something similar to this, when we just left, there was like young youth teams going onto the pitch, and like the atmosphere looked fantastic. And obviously
the bars were open.
Yeah, and I think obviously the academy's just gone recently, but if touch wood we go up and the academy starts to come back into the fold, 4G pitches, training facilities, they're all massive to bring it back in.
Yeah, and this is. Today's probably not the day to talk about the academy.
No, definitely.
We will talk about that in the future. I've got my own views on it. I don't think today's the day. But what I will say about that, it doesn't necessarily have to be an academy. It can be a junior team, whatever it is. But some kind of youth football, I think, opens the door for that secondary
100%,
spend,
yeah.
like we saw with those parents that night. Anything else to add, guys, on today's events?
Yeah, I would just say, God, I went. It was an interesting day. I'll be honest. I was quite smartly dressed. It's a course. I thought, that it's not the kind of place you turn up in Stone Island to. And I will admit, I got there quite.
That was a cheap shot, Max.
Hashtag.
I won't mention Max's trainers like that guy on Twitter.
I haven't got them on today.
Max just twaddling around like a Japanese tourist.
Hashtag get the badge in. But the consequence of that was because I was there quite early. I did have a couple come up to me outside the courtroom and ask if I was their solicitor.
Strange because you don't look the type.
I know. I don't know what vibe I gave off. I don't know if it was the 4 years of my university law degree. But no, I thought it was. I didn't do that well. I thought it was, a positive result for the Iron, as much as it could have possibly been expected. As Marco says, definitely gives them a little bit of security and a chance now to breathe, focus on the on-pitch stuff. And I was particularly interested in the statement there, about a deal or a resolution. If we think that the rent was previously in that interim period was £20,000 a month. You know, not to go all mathsable, but that's a pretty good yield. That, you know, it's about an 8%. It's about an 8% yield. You know, if I was Swan, I'd be thinking, you know, let's sign some sort of 5-year tenancy agreement on that. And you could buy, you know, there is a deal to be done there if Swan is serious.
I think the issue, and again, perhaps this is speculation, and you know we do have to be careful. But I think the issue with that comes back to the fact that Swan possibly wants instant money. He doesn't want a 5-year drip feed income. He
100%.
I won't say needs money, but potentially wants cash soon.
So I think that's fair. I wonder if that is true as to whether or not actually that will be a factor that pushes them towards a deal. You know, if you're selling your car and you need the money, you know, you might list it for £1,200, but if somebody comes and offers you £1,000, well, realistically, you might take it. So you know, I hope the sense can prevail. Today was a good day for the football club. It's one that we'll, no doubt have to revisit in the new year. But you know, I'm definitely happier than I was at 10 o'clock this morning.
Right, I think we'll put a full stop under that. We'll move on to the football side of things. We are, after all, a football podcast, so we'll move on. The 2 games that we've had since our last podcast, the first one, Curzon Ashton away. Gareth, talk to me about it. Straight over to you.
Our first defeat of the season.
Yeah,
it was one of those games where you go into it thinking, yeah, we're going to do this. But they've got a good record.
They have.
Before we played, I think
decent side.
I think they'd lost twice in 16, was it? Something like that. And I said in my vlog beforehand that I think the first goal is going to be key. And if they get that goal, they're just going to sit tight and try and defend that lead. And that's what happened. You know, they got that goal.
Just a little plug on your vlog. Ironami HD. I know
I
you
need to plug it.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's slick.
Would you say you're the premier vlogger for Scunthorpe United?
There's 3 of us now.
I
There's 3.
know.
All power to them.
Everyone's at it.
But no, I just think that, you know, when you look at the stats for the game, it was all Scunthorpe.
Yes.
We just could not get the ball in the net. And it wasn't through want of trying, but it was just the final. Well, it was just trying to get through those 2 banks.
Yeah.
The players at the end.
And the puddles.
And the puddles towards the end, I say the last 25 minutes or so, it was just played in atrocious conditions. I've not seen rain like it. Hail.
We'll come on to the Scarborough game shortly, but just cast your mind back to Saturday. Danny Elliott hits the bar quite late on. At that point, you know, he does need that first goal. What did you think? Was you feeling for him a bit? Did you think if he had a bit more form, it might have hit the bar and gone in?
I was just feeling for the fans. I mean, to watch just what was happening on the pitch, and for the players as well, in fairness, because it's not, you know, when Jacob Butterfield's having to flick it up to knock a ball forward, because of this water.
Did it look safe?
The pitch?
Yeah.
I'd have loved to have played on it, I will be honest. Instead of just being going in for a slide tackle.
You're just there swimming.
There was times when players got pushed into their sides, and you know it's not safe when they're sliding 10 foot and then hitting a board. Advertising boarding. And I think, you know, at the time I was saying I wanted the players to come off for like 5-10 minutes. They probably would have needed longer for it to drain away. But having said that, when we left the game, if that had happened, they'd have come back out. When we left the game, it started torrential downpour again.
Right.
So there would have been more standing water on the pitch. I think it would have led to an abandonment.
If those conditions had been present at the start of the game, do you think we'd have had a kick-off?
Probably not, no.
No.
If it had been 1-1, that game would have been called off.
Okay.
If it had been 0-0, that game would have been called off.
Did the referee go to the managers then?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's concerning.
He did, he went to both managers. But I'm hearing from our fans and theirs that he asked them about the game and both managers wanted it to carry on.
Okay, that's interesting.
So that's what I've been told from people sat near the dugouts, that
Yeah.
both managers wanted to
Fair enough.
carry on. But yeah, I think it should have been called, you know.
I wouldn't mind going back to Curzon midweek.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
Yeah.
Curzon's accountant would have been thrilled. It was only 3-1 with away fans. He'd have been there going, call it off, call it off. Think of all that more beer they could have sold.
So, yeah, we go down 1-0. What was kind of the vibe after the game? Was you able to kind of put that away and say, well, we're going to lose games this season?
Yeah, that's it. We are going to lose games this season. We're going to lose more games this season. You know, we're not going to go through it now undefeated. I think it's a nice idea, isn't it, when you are undefeated, thinking, oh, we're going to win this one, then we can win that one, looking down the line. But, you know, I think it's a bit of a reality check as well for the fans and maybe for some of the players. You know, that, we are going to have a battle with teams. You have to break them down.
And this might sound weird, actually, but I thought in a weird sort of way it was a good game to lose in inverted commas. You know, Jimmy Dean's sort of post-match interview with BBC Radio Humberside, you know, he was asked, is it a good thing that you're playing immediately? You know, they didn't have time to think about the defeat. You know, they'd maybe got a little bit of a fire in their belly from the referee, the conditions, but you know, if they'd had a whole week to sulk on it, I don't think that maybe would have been a good thing. But straight into the scalp.
I noticed he had been on training on the Sunday as well. Which I think probably wouldn't have happened.
You mentioned the Scarborough game, Marco. We've not had much from you so far, so we'll go straight to you.
Apart from his hat.
We'll go straight to you then. So I think we were all there yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah.
And do you know, it was up there with the Darlington game for me. I haven't had days at Glanford Park like that which feels like a long time.
100%. Even before the football, the overall experience is just becoming so much better at Glanford Park.
Isn't it?
The food seems to be sorting itself out. I've heard really good things about the food and the drink and everything. They're making an effort. I saw the outside bar was busy. I sampled a couple of pints.
I did see that.
We've all fallen on the floor in shock at that.
There was a young girl DJing in. She was fantastic. I didn't catch her name. She was really good.
Is it Taylor Shipley?
Taylor Shipley. She was brilliant. Everyone outside was loving it. Really good.
I had a bit of a boogie.
You did have a boogie. It's been caught on camera.
Some dad dancing going on over there.
The overall experience, which I think is massive, because we get that crowd yesterday. The football, the players did their job, but it's massively important the club does their job to get these fans back.
You're right.
So then kids ask their parents, can we go back again? And it's more tickets, it's more revenue, and it's stuff we need.
So, you're absolutely right. So I went with a couple of friends, and one of them, Nathan, he brought his.
I hired a couple of friends.
It's like a kissogram, but like for Fred.
They were the year above Andy at school, as he well knows.
Never heard of him, mate.
One of them brought his younger brother to his first ever Scunthorpe game, and we were asking him at the end, you know, would you come back? And you could see on his face, he's going, well, if it's going to be like that every week, definitely.
Well, do you know, after the Darlington game, my eldest, my 11-year-old, he said, this is incredible. So I've taken him to watch England at Old Trafford. I've taken him to a Women's Euro semi-final. We've watched Championship games. We've watched Europa League games. We've watched Premier League games. We've watched Bundesliga games live. And he said that Darlington game was the best game he's ever been to for atmosphere. I promise. Because we were at the top and he was in the middle of it and he was banging on the bat. And I don't think he'd ever really been in the centre of the atmosphere like that. And I think that is, for me, that made me so happy as a parent. Like, that he's getting the memories that I got as a child. And I can see his love is genuinely starting to become real now. It's not like, you know, when you're a bit younger and you maybe go with whatever your parents say, like, I'm a Arsenal fan, I'm a Man United fan, I'm a Scunny fan, whatever your parents do. But I can see it's like actually he's catching on now and
getting that bug.
I love it.
That's massive. And like I said, the whole experience has got so much better. The fact what was going on the pitch, I thought was fantastic on Saturday. We looked every time. Monday, sorry. Saturday was a bit
You drunk that many, you forgot what day it was.
Every time we went forward, we looked really threatening. I saw a couple of tweets from X on X. So a couple of tweets on Twitter, Scarborough fans saying we have played the winners of the league.
Did a fan say would drink a pint of his own piss?
Yeah.
If that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is. But to be fair, on a bank holiday weekend, if you go down the right pubs in Scarborough, you can see people doing that for free.
That's why we probably wanted to get out today. Every single player on the pitch, fantastic. Interesting when I saw Danny Elliott and Whitehall starting.
What did you think of that?
Last year, all we said every week was getting frustrated at Elliott not being up front, not being number 9. It seems like the way he's going to get into this team is by coming in off. The thing is this year, because obviously, with no disrespect to the teams we're playing, they aren't the same level as last year. Elliott's going to when he's playing around the front three, he is going to get a lot more chances to attack rather than last year. So if that's the way we get him in, that's the way we get him in. Because look how he was fantastic.
And we romped to victory, didn't we? We looked very comfortable, Mark.
Yeah, great free kick.
Great free
From
kick.
Scarborough.
Yeah.
I know he scored their winner.
Yes, you were telling me that just before.
Yeah, so these last 2 free kicks he scored them, bro.
I'm not going to lie, I was probably the only Scunny fan willing that goal in. I did have a cheeky little bet. I had a fiver on us to win 4-1.
Yeah. You never hear about the bets he loses. That's all I'll say.
Because I don't lose.
There's not been one yet.
Cat, I never lose. So just coming back to the goals then. And any of the 4 goals stand out for you?
As boring as it sounds, I enjoyed the penalty. Not the actual penalty, the play. The dummy were fantastic to actually win.
And the celebration.
Yeah, but like that just shows. I feel like the dummy. It shows how confident we are when we are in free flow. Obviously, that was to get the 3rd goal. The tails were up. We were fantastic.
And we'd had a couple of penalty appeals turned down in the first half. Yeah. And you see it sometimes understandably so. Sides get frustrated if they think they're not getting a fair deal off the referee. Good sides win games regardless. I think of all the great Scunthorpe sides, and they all, even if you weren't getting the rub of the green, they still ground it out. So the fact that they didn't sit back, they didn't try and protect the 2-0 lead, they kept pushing, they kept trying to create. When Scarborough came forward, we hit them on the break. It was everything you could have asked for, really.
My 2 favourite players scored as well, which is fantastic. Obviously, Wilson.
Wilson's got a
Elliott.
cracker as well. Yeah, seen a video of that.
I was so happy with Elliott as well to finally get off.
I think it's good for him that he's done that, scored, whether it's a penalty or not.
Yeah.
You could see how much it meant to him.
That first celebration was very Zlatan, did you think? Look at me!
On the wall.
Adore me!
But no, I think it's good for him that he's got that goal, penalty or not, still a goal.
100%.
It's just a weightlifter for him.
And what did you think of a backflip to celebrate an own goal?
I thought, I can't wait for him to score a goal from open play.
Imagine the celebration.
Yeah, just see what he does with that.
It was very sort of Peter Beardsley-esque, that backflip, I thought.
It was a good flip.
Yeah, no, it was. I liked it. Who cares if it was an own goal?
There's a picture, I think we'll probably put this on our Twitter actually, which I should say, our Twitter is Iron Hour Podcast. If you don't follow us, give us a follow. We try and get maximum engagement. We were obviously tweeting throughout today with all the updates from the court as much as we could. So get us on Twitter. We will put on there's a picture of Elliott mid-celebration doing the flip and just a young fan in the background. Have you seen it in his face? Like, in absolute shock. I love that. And I think, again, this is the kind of like the engagement with the young fans that winning games does.
Even just celebrating, like you can see what it means to everyone there. I'll tell you one thing I was surprised at was Elliott actually taking a penalty. I thought Whitehall would be our permanent penalty taker.
Yeah, I don't think it's to do with him having missed the last one. I think Elliott needed to get off the mark.
Yeah. Do you think if we got a penalty the next game, we're both on the pitch?
Had it been 0-0, who would have taken it?
Had it been 0-0, I wonder if neither would have taken it.
Really?
With Whitehall having missed the last one and Elliott having not scored, I wonder if Butterfield would have taken it. Yeah, to be honest.
I'd fancy Butterfield from a dead ball.
Yep. Right, we'll move on to the next section then, guys. If this is your first time listening to our podcast because you know the news that was coming out today, you want to see what we're all about, our next segment is the FPL, which is Fantasy Premier League. Marco, can I pass straight over to you for this?
Go
for
it.
Explain what we do, what it is.
So our league now, we seem to be getting like a massive influx of people every game week. Where if you do want to join and you haven't joined yet, you can. You'll come in on your current points, so you won't just go straight to the bottom of the table. You'll probably come in straight ahead of these guys. So yeah, if you do want to join, the password is Dolly79. Don't ask why, but again, it's all on our Twitter.
One L, isn't it?
Yes, one L.
Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly. But yeah, it's all on our it's all there on our Twitter. So in first place this week is Jack Christer. With his team name, who is Step 7. I don't know why. Second place, I forgot his name, but it was worth mentioning.
Do you think he's a big fan of like Steps and S Club 7?
Oh, that's 100%. Second place, I forgot his name, so I do apologise. Had a blinder who played his bench boost.
Nice.
And he had Udogie and a Chelsea player on there, and he got 90 points this week, which is the most in the whole league. So well done. In last place, sort of a booby prize.
Is it Gareth? Or?
No, it's not
Gareth.
Bradley Bailey with Bailey FC. So you're currently 172nd. Again, we've got 172 members now. It's fantastic. We didn't think we'd get anywhere near that. So a special shout out to Will Watton, who obviously led last week by total fluke. He's somehow managed to stay in the top 10
Boo.
by subbing Matty Cashin, who scored 2 from right back.
So the bit I saw was like the Premier League tweeted. Was it 5 people had triple captained Matty Cash?
That's a joke.
Who are these people?
Yeah, it's
what drugs are they on? And can they share? Like,
yeah,
who does this?
Massive shout to Will there, 'cause he didn't mean it, but yeah. He still does. For us guys, so we've got Gareth.
I won't move on.
We've got Gareth who got 39 points this weekend, which, to be fair, is more than I got.
Is it?
Yeah, it was a really tough week.
I'll still drop down.
Gareth's in 146th place. Still early days. There ain't actually much in it between us. Well, between you guys. We've got Max in 123rd.
One, 2, 3.
You actually got the most points out of us guys this week. With 54.
I was that close to subbing out Darwin Núñez, who's in my team, left him in.
Great decision.
And, let's pretend I did it on purpose.
We've got Barra, who is 1 point ahead of Max. But this is how tight it is. You are actually 6 places ahead of him with that 1 point.
Yeah.
You got 50 points. Still a good week. I only got 36 points this week, but I am in 34th.
Very good.
So yeah, I'll be getting the nosebleed. So yeah, another great week. I think in a couple of weeks' time we're going to look at, obviously the first week we did a prize for who got the most points that week or who was top of the league, and a big prize for bottom. I think we're going to look at doing that again soon. So yeah, feel free to join. The password and things on our Twitter page, which Andy's plugged already. So yeah, that feels been good.
Great. Right, our next section then comes courtesy of Iron Stats. I don't know if you're on Twitter, Iron Stats is a great page. I think he's in collaboration with the club now with the programs. He helps with the digital programs.
Oh, the graphics. Can we mention the graphics?
Oh, the graphics.
Absolutely fantastic. Love that.
Best graphic designer in the league. You'll never sing that.
That was a good one from earlier. I forget whose tweet it was. Was it Champions of Leeds Combined Core? You'll never sing that.
I think it was Iron Filey.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, that made me laugh.
So this next section comes courtesy of Iron Stats. The first 2 stats he tweeted. The others he gave us exclusively. So big thank you to all the work that he does. So the first one is 4,860, which was the attendance on Monday, is the 8th highest attendance in National League North history. We should put an asterisk on that, which is since the records in 2011 began. But I think it's unlikely that's it'd be much higher than that. The highest is 6,311 in the regular season.
I imagine Stockport possibly. They'd have been up there.
Yeah. I think for us to beat that this season, we'd need a good away following from the opposition, and 2, it would need to be back end of the season, wouldn't it? When promotion is possibly.
And to be fair, actually, I would say that the last 2 home games we've had good away followings. Scarborough bought 640. Yeah, which a 6th tier. Like that's top quality support, and I know you could hear on Gareth's vlog stuff. They never stopped singing. I was. And even Darlington on a Tuesday night bought north of 300. Like that's what makes this country's football system great. Is you can get down to this level and it still be really good.
So the next stat is the Iron have scored 4 goals in consecutive home games for the first time since November-December 2008. Now I did a little bit of research myself to see what games they were, and I remember them both, having now looked at them, but I did know one of them. So I knew the second in the chain. The first one was, which I'm sure we will. Go on, Max.
It's
not a quiz, but sorry, I thought you knew the answer. You just
I was trying to remember now.
Okay, can I tell you?
Because it's the 08-09 season. Was it the Northampton 4-4 draw?
Yeah, that's the second one.
Yeah.
When we were 4-1 up and then kind of which is all I could think about on Monday, by the way. When we were 4-1 up. Ben May scored 2 that day.
Yes,
they must have been bad.
Northampton went down that season.
Yeah,
they scored 7 past us.
The first one in the chain was a 4-0 win against Alfreton in the FA Cup.
Tommy Evans was in goal for Alfreton that day, and big thick fog. Yes.
Yeah, correct. They're the stats that were on Iron Stats Twitter. I did ask for some more, and he sent me these. So these next ones are GP specific, Lamford Park specific. With us, today being at touch wood, a slight day of celebration. I thought we'd go over the time that we've had at Glanford Park. So we've played 935 games at Glanford Park in all competitions. We've won 405, drawn 259 and lost 271. That gives us a 43% win percentage at Glanford Park, which is
Pretty good.
pretty high.
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Bear in mind as well, that a lot of that will be distorted over the last 3 seasons. Quite
I'm going to
negatively,
say,
so
considering
it's
what's
still
happened.
quite a positive
Yeah,
number.
absolutely.
We've scored 1,435 goals and only conceded 1,133. So that probably indicates why there's such a high win percentage.
Great
there.
stat.
It's a fantastic stat. Yesterday was the 61st time we have scored 4 or more goals at GP. The 18th time we've won 4-1 at GP, and that was our first 4-1 win at Glanford Park was against Chelsea
I would have got that. I would have got that.
in the League Cup in September 1988.
Yeah, it was the first season at GP. It was only about the
Yeah.
4th or 5th game at Glanford Park that Chelsea won.
Was Musselwhite playing that day?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in.
I
It was,
thought so.
Yeah, it was in goal for Scunny.
Because I remember a big thing about when we played them in 2004.
04-05 season.
Yeah, so
Rice
January
season.
2005.
Yeah, Rice
So when we
season.
played them in 05, I remember the big rhetoric at the time being that he'd played in both games.
Yes, as had Chelsea's assistant manager, who is now the manager of Scotland, Steve Clarke.
Steve Clarke, that's right.
There you go.
The next section, then, just moving on. So again, we kind of our next section is a little bit bigger than Scunthorpe, a little bit bigger than football often. We just take a look at what's happened this week in the world. We have a moment, hero, and idiot of the week. Each panelist gives me theirs, and I pick a winner. It's as simple as that. So we'll start with you, Gareth.
You can start with me.
What should we go for? Moment of the week? No, hero of the week.
Hero.
Who's your hero
Do you know
of
what?
the week?
All my stuff's on my phone, and my phone's recording,
Yeah.
and I can't think off the top of my head who I had.
Jimmy D.
Was that my hero? I thought that was my moment.
Marco, who's your...
Well, Gareth thinks my
hero of the
hero
week?
is his hero at Strike Relief. I know I've mentioned the Scarborough game, but we haven't actually mentioned him
I
yet.
know it is.
Fitzsimmons.
Yes.
Fitzsimmons, it's so nice to go to a game and not have to worry. It's like playing with another centre-back.
Yeah.
His distribution,
Yeah.
not only with his shot stopping, which obviously, granted, he didn't have many to save on Saturday, but his distribution alone is worth its weight in gold. He's so
Fitzy?
comfortable at the
I like
back.
that.
What's he doing at this level, really,
Mental.
to be honest? Like, he
Absolutely
should,
mental.
He should be playing for a decent...
I'd just like to remind you this is a quick fire round.
Yeah.
Gareth, your
My
hero of the week?
is Max.
No, it's not.
It is. For going to the court this
Do
morning.
you not want any points?
Well, Max has been to the courts before.
Well, I know that, but I don't even have to talk about it, are we? So,
Honestly, that's so harsh.
no.
You do work experience in the wrong
Got a
place
season
once.
ticket.
yeah, so Max for going to the courts this morning and just, letting us know.
Keeping everyone updated. I think
Information,
yeah,
because he's
it's-
out on Twitter
Yeah, it was
doing
really
his
good.
bit, so...
And I think you
thank
got a lot of praise for that, so
Yeah.
I will
Which
begrudgingly
I have to say,
all-
I'm not used to. So I'm looking forward to saying
Now,
something.
why might that be?
Yeah, exactly. Say something rubbish tomorrow, and I'll get a lot of stick, and I'll be there going, "Oh, this is more like it." I feel a bit more comfortable now.
Who's your hero of the week?
So my hero of the week is a non-football one. It was the first ever Scunthorpe Pride on Sunday down at Church Square, and I think the Church Square actually, it's a big space. It's often, it can have a bit of antisocial behaviour. It's not often busy or used for anything, and seeing something like that there was families, there was dancers, there was face painting, there was arts and crafts, just seeing something like that here for the first time ever, fantastic. So yeah, my absolute heroes of the week are the organisers of that. I know they had the after party in here in the Black Door where we are now, just to see something like that happening, fantastic. Organisers, massive salute from me.
Okay, I'm going to give the points to Max for that. I think it's a great event, great cause, and the fact that Black Door involved is great as well. So, yep. Right, we'll move on to Idiot of the Week. Gareth?
Mine is Ron Martin, just for being Ron Martin. Move on. I just think, he's just a total idiot. And all the Southend fans, I sympathise.
Yeah.
Because he's a bellend.
Yeah, and actually,
Marco? let's quick.
Okay.
Mine is, obviously I've got a massive love for Cagliari, where I'm from, my team, but they are my idiots.
That clip's so good.
Yeah, I mean, not only for that clip, this week, for tickets for the Inter Milan game, there's only 4,000 that aren't actually season tickets now, so they're quite hard to get hold of. They were charging €150 for a ticket. Bear in mind, this is a team that was in the Serie B last year. And it's not the most affluent place. There's not much money. So these tickets were snapped up by Inter Milan fans. So a large amount of it. So baffling. But they knew what we were doing. They knew we were going to sell them. Just to help with that, there's a very viral video going around. I've been tagged a lot. Some claim it's me and my dad. I can say it's not. But yeah, it does contain nudity. There's also, there's a guy in a wheelchair, and they are just giving it.
He's giving it the line.
They are giving it to away fans. But who says football went all inclusive? Yeah. It was fun for everyone.
Exactly, everyone can be a hooligan.
Exactly. So they're my idiots. They always are my idiots, but they're mine.
Fair.
Max?
I know we touched on it briefly. My idiot of the week is the referee at Curzon Ashton. Those conditions in the last 20 minutes were not safe. And I'll be totally honest, I was probably worried as much as anyone for the Curzon Ashton players, in that they'll have all had, full-time proper jobs during the week. As Gareth was saying, they were sliding. You could very easily jarred your knee or your ankle. If you're a plumber and you're out of action because you've broken your leg or dislocated your knee ligaments for, and you don't get work for 4 months, this is livelihoods down at this level of the football pyramid. I thought it was dangerous. If it was 0-0 or 1-0, he'd have taken them off. I don't care if both managers wanted to play on. He should have taken them off.
You were very angry about that. Very aggressive.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna give the points to Gareth for that because I do think Ron Martin is an absolute pleb. So that makes it 1-1 going into the final section, which is the idiot of the week. I'll go to you first, Marco.
Idiots. No,
I'm the fucking idiot.
You're the idiot.
Moment of the week.
My moment. Obviously, we like boxing on this podcast. We do like boxing. Got home Saturday night. Thought Usic's my favourite fighter, so we knew it was going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
Dubois, no slouch. He's only young. He's going to have plenty of time to actually become a champion. I feel. Usyk were dominating, but the big moment is, you'll have all seen it, the low blow.
But it wasn't a low blow, was it?
No, it was on the belt.
It
and
was.
Anyone who knows boxing knows that a blow on the belt, on the band, is a legal blow.
So that's my moment. It's a big talking point. It's going to divide opinion. I think no matter which side you're on, you can stop that image. Whatever suits you.
Yeah, and to fit the narrative.
Exactly. It's a talking point though. I will say, Usyk, absolute champion.
Yeah.
He is fantastic, and I just hope we get that fight with Fury.
Gareth, over to you for moment of the week.
Jimmy Dean applauding the fans when they announced the attendance on Monday, and just applauded the home fans and then applauded the travelling fans. I thought it was a nice touch.
Gave a couple of waves as well when Donny Roden sang his name.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
It's nice to see. He does. You can tell he genuinely does love it, doesn't he? I don't mind.
Max, if I could ask you quickly to give me your moment of the week.
We've already discussed it, so I promise I can be quick. Look, it had to be the legal hearing today.
Yes.
This discussion would be totally different if there'd been a different outcome. It was a massive moment. It's been a positive result for the Iron, and hopefully we'll keep winning matches at Canford Park.
That is, of course, the right answer. That was definitely the moment of the week. So Matt takes it 2-1. 2 points to Max, 1 for Gareth and Marco.
I feel
Since Max's return is
I feel like this is payback for the Fantasy League. I feel like if I was down with you guys, I'd be getting more points. Got a target on my back.
These points transfer onto the fantasy.
Yeah, because if I get 2 points, that puts me above Andy.
I've just taken one off there. I think we've just got enough time for the quiz. So we've got 2 rounds. We've got a Scunthorpe United specific round, and then a global football round. What do you want first, the global football or
global? Let's go.
Right. I'll hit you first, then Max.
All right, hang on. Let me get my stance right.
Straight for
Max,
low blow.
Who was the best football player of Europe in 1998? As in voted the best footballer of European football in 1998.
On the basis that he was terrific for Brazil at the World Cup, I'll go for the original Ronaldo. I'll go for R9.
Famous for being Europe, of course. European.
I thought you said world.
No. I definitely said European, didn't I, guys?
I think I know this.
And unfortunately, you've lost. Like, I have to accept.
Can we have a
the
guess?
first-
No.
Like, can you believe Max?
Genuinely, did you
have a
not say?
guess?
Did you not say world?
No. I said European, right?
I can't remember.
I can't
We'll have to
remember.
bring it back.
Well,
I
I'll have to
definitely
watch
said
on the tape.
European.
Can I have a token European
Go on then.
guess on that basis? Zidane.
Yeah.
It was Zidane, but I
yeah.
can't give you the point. Unless VAR confirms I did say global, but I didn't. I said global at the start and then I said European.
Oh, it's the global.
Oh,
It's tricks you,
oh, this is another low blow debate here.
Marco,
Yeah, I'd have got that one.
which team won the first Premier League?
Oh,
Football did not start in 1992.
first Premier League.
I know, sir. I know.
Is it Blackburn?
It was
Manchester United.
correct.
Boo! What year was Blackburn?
94, 95.
Yeah.
I think was it the third season?
Yes. Gareth, then you can take a lead after the first round, although I suspect you won't.
Come on, Gareth. I hope you get this now.
In which year was the first time a European Championship featured 24 teams, so the expanded version? Yeah, again, this isn't your answer, Max.
So I'm just going to choose a year.
Yeah,
That's the game.
yeah, there was a European Championship, so you know it has to be every 4 years.
No idea. We'll just say 82.
1982.
Much more recent than that.
It was the World Cup as well.
Would you like to
What-
correct
what
them?
Yeah, so it was a World Cup. It was
I think
20,
Italy, wasn't it?
yes, Tardelli, yes. 2016.
It was 2016, but unfortunately that wasn't your question.
So I've managed to get all 3 questions right and come away with no points.
So where the cookie crumbles.
Sucks to be you. Second round then, we've got a Scunthorpe United specific round, and this week we are looking at the 06-07 promotion season.
Excellent. Great
So-
year.
I will go to Max first of all.
Okay.
Our first home win that season was against who? I can offer you a multiple choice if you would like a multiple choice.
No, I shouldn't need multiple choice. Famous last words. I believe it was Gillingham.
Okay, that is incorrect.
Wow. Was that their first away win?
Correct. Gillingham was an away victory.
It was that. I believe it was their first victory of the season.
Yes, it was. But the first home victory came against.
Now I'll take multiple choice.
Oh.
Okay, Gillingham.
Was it one of the options?
Yeah, because it was the first win.
Yeah.
Gillingham, Cheltenham, or Port Vale. And I should say these 3 were all wins at the start of the season.
Yeah, so that was the thing I was thinking. Oh, I wonder if there's going to be one that I remember from being at the back end. I need Ryan for this. I'll go Cheltenham.
So you wouldn't have got the points. It was Port Vale.
No,
Yeah.
I'd have gone Cheltenham.
Okay.
Good
So,
question.
thank you. I thought about it myself. I'll go to Marco next.
Go for it.
On the 20th of January 2007, we drew 1-1 away to Doncaster. Who scored their only goal of the season for us that day? There's no multiple choice because it's too obvious if there's a multiple choice.
Hang on. Repeat that question.
On the 20th of January 2007, we drew 2-2, I should say.
I was about to say.
2-2 with Doncaster. Who scored their only goal for us? Who scored their only goal of the season for us that day? 2-2. Well pointed out, Max.
Oh, God. I was there as well because it's my birthday. Just after my birthday. I've no idea.
I'm going to have to rush you.
Guess somebody.
It's not Ian Morris.
No.
No.
Max, do you know?
I could tell you who scored the other goal.
Yeah, no.
Only goal of the season. So you're guessing.
I'm thinking defender.
Yeah, realistically, you're guessing somebody who barely scored any. Or could somebody like Marcus Williams?
No. It's Drew Talbot.
So the other goal's the very famous one.
Yeah,
Andy
only
Keogh
played 3 games for us that season.
Yeah, the other goal's the famous one where Andy Keogh scores and whips his top off and runs because it was his last game.
Black shirt.
So, Gareth, it means you have a chance to win.
Is it?
So
That's a polite way of putting it. We've had 5 questions. And
again,
we've
the
not had
06-07
right
season. Who scored our final league goal of that season? Again, I can offer you a multiple choice.
This is so annoying. I know this one.
Do you though?
Yeah,
Give me a multiple choice.
Okay, so the multiple choice is Jermaine Beckford, Cleveland Taylor, or Matt Sparrow.
Yeah, I was right.
Well, I should all. Okay, I won't say. You think you're right?
I know I'm right this one.
I'm going to say, and I don't know, Matt Sparrow.
Who did you think it
Beckford.
was?
100%.
I thought it was Beckford.
It was Beckford.
Yeah.
All 3 of those scored on that day when we beat Carlisle 3-0. So basically,
Was that the
nobody
Beckford-
has got points.
Is that the famous Beckford goal?
No,
But
it's
we
not.
No.
But we still have a tiebreaker.
A 3-way
somebody
tiebreak.
will win
Everyone's
this.
switched off now.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine.
So the
This is
tiebreaker
the world's
is this,
worst
yeah.
quiz.
Well, the questions were fine. It was the answers that were lacking.
I answered everybody else's
global,
questions
the
brilliantly.
global European quiz.
I know, shocking.
So the tiebreaker is the official attendance,
Oh, God.
as reported by the Scunthorpe United website, for our first game of last season, which was against Yeovil. So I would like the closest person to the actual
Love
attendance wins it. Might need to get my calculator out here. Okay. So Gareth, if I can come to you first for an official attendance.
3617.
Okay, Marco.
3616.
3616. And Max, if I can go to you.
3615.
That is pathetic. That is
Look,
pathetic.
no, because he's done that. He's done
I
that to
can't
Gareth
win.
on
I can't
purpose.
win.
Unless you're bang on.
You've just took the man out.
Exactly.
The wrong man.
Unless you're bang on.
That's something he'd have done, though.
He's done that on purpose to Gareth. But you can only do that if you're last. Marco deserves that.
I can't win.
As
could win anyway.
frustrating as this is for me, the winner is Max. And you were still, guys, you were miles
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
There's
Ma-
no
yeah.
reason to celebrate.
Genuinely, was about. If I'd have been taking this seriously, I'd have gone for like 3-3.
It was 3,131.
It was on telly though.
Yes.
So I think we've just literally rattled through just enough time to look at the next 2 games. We're away at Alfreton on Saturday and then home to South Shields on Tuesday. Gareth, how many points will we pick up from the next 2 games?
4.
Marco?
6.
4.
4. Who do we beat?
Alfreton.
Yeah.
Both.
That's how 6 points works.
Again, I'd just like to say, remember to follow us on Twitter at the Iron Hour Podcast. We've been here today at the Black Door. Special thank you to our sponsors, the Black Door, and also No Film. No Film usually film our podcast. They're not here today, but we'll let producer Pete off. We're still here at the Black Door. It's a fantastic venue. They've actually got a movie night tomorrow. When you listen to this podcast, presumably it'll be Wednesday, so it'll be the day of. So every Wednesday night they have a movie night here. There's lots of other events going off at the Black Door, and I should also point out they will be closed from the 17th of September and reopen the following Saturday. They're having a refurbishment, they're having a pool table fitted, a jukebox, arcade with 10,000 games on, including Pro Evolution Soccer 2012.
Oh, that's a bit of a retro one.
And of course,
Just off camera, I see a table tennis table as well.
Yes.
And if anybody's not tried the pizza here, I know just about everyone who came to the FIFA tournament we did here did.
Yeah.
If you've not tried the pizza here, it's banging.
Yeah, and of course we will have another event here, a FIFA day, a quiz, whatever it is. We love working with Black Door. Fantastic venue, and of course yesterday all the work that we're doing with Pride event. Was it yesterday?
Sunday.
A venue that's really kind of aligned to us, so we rate it a lot. Just go through the shout outs then, guys. A shout out for Trev, who gives a shout out to Max for his good work today. A big shout out to Paul Sutton, PJK, and of course Becky for being herself. Is that Becky or Adele? I don't know.
I saw that comment.
She asks what we think of Chapman's future. She suggests it's too good to be on the bench every week. Gareth, what do you think? Do you think he'll stay? Do you think he'll go?
I think he'll go.
Yeah.
He's got to go for his own sake.
And also asks on Elliott, Whitehall both being on the pitch at the same time. Marco, what do you think about that?
Feel like it's been a way of getting them both on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think Elliott's good enough to play that
She
position.
goes on to say, when's the next event at the Black Door Pub Quiz FIFA Day? We will announce
We're
news.
on it.
We're on it. We are on it. Ryan Middleton says, thoughts on the first month as a whole, happy with the points tally, and what do you expect from September? I think we've covered that. And he says, who do you want in the FA Cup? Ian Army, have you got anyone on the tip of your tongue who would like in the draw?
When's the draw?
It's going to be next week.
Yeah.
The round of games is this weekend coming. So when we play Alfreton, I know who I don't want.
Who don't you
I don't want Grimsby Borough. I don't want Cleethorpes, and I don't want Lincoln United because it'll just be humiliating.
Can we get Gull?
They were still in the draw last
They
time.
won in the
checked.
last minute.
Goal would be okay.
No.
I just like to be at home.
I mean, when was the last time we won an FA Cup game?
Yeah,
you know, it's got to be pushing 4 years.
And that game's on the 16th.
Yes, that's right.
I'll
yes.
be going to that one. So yeah, just somewhere we've not been away, even a proper dive. I'm all for that.
He also goes on to say, this is Ryan Middleton, well done to Winterton Rangers on getting their first win in Step 4 yesterday against
Massive.
Bridlington Town.
Yeah.
You know, I am a big fan of Winterton Rangers on this pod, so yeah, well done, Winnie Rangers. Damo threw me under the bus for my dancing on Monday,
bad.
which I think was a bit harsh. Aidan Wilco suggests we do a Scunny quiz, which I think we've delivered.
Badly.
I'd say successfully.
First and last.
Also, Ryan did have one idea, which was to each pick a player of the season and player of the month, and then at the end of the season we see who's got the most votes, and they've won our player of the season.
Good idea, I like
So,
it.
Max, if I can ask you for a player of the
No
month,
pressure.
just a name.
This is totally
Don't need an
online.
explanation, just a name.
Fitzsimmons.
Yep. Gareth. Scales.
Ooh.
Marco.
Denton.
Denton.
Was really impressed with him the other day. I feel like he's being wasted at left back, but
That's more than one word. Okay.
Oh.
Mine is also Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
So Fitzsimmons has 2, Scales 1, Denton 1, and at the end of September we'll just keep adding to this.
can't believe none of us have picked an attacker, considering we are
Yeah,
going to score
I
a
know.
lot more than we're
I get
defending.
that. Oh, yeah.
But on Russell, we won 3-0. Fitzsimmons was my man of the match.
Yeah.
Goalkeepers who make big saves at big moments, worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
100%.
The last thing to mention is, again, we talk about our community engagement. We are sponsoring a local amateur boxing event which is taking place next Saturday at Botsford Town Football Club, and this is a Scunthorpe Select taking on the rest of the UK. I will be there. I'm actually the announcer on the night.
Oh, boxing friends, MC.
I'm fighting.
It's a low bar. Marco isn't fighting. The only thing he's fighting is Melissa.
Thing? You've just called Melissa a thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm tired, guys. I've got to make some gaffes on.
There is no domestic violence. Let's just clear that up.
He's not the
And if it
Spanish
was,
FA
yeah,
president.
if it
have we?
was, it'd be on me.
Closing thoughts from us? Anything to add, Gareth?
No?
I'm not going to go to Max because I know we'll just.
No, just
We'll
take it
go
on.
to the Iron 2
It's been a good week. Yeah, it's been a good week.
It's been
Do
a
we
good
need to
week.
celebrate
It's
the
been a
small
good week.
things today, Monday?
Yeah, no,
Let's
it's
enjoy it.
yeah,
Let's enjoy the
positive.
ride.
A big thank you for listening. A big thank you once again, one final time, to our sponsors, The Black Dot and No Film. Follow us on Twitter at the Iron Hour Podcast. Until next time, up the Iron Hour.